Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and we love Christmas. And we have been patient and waited, but now it's finally time for the Christmas videos to come out, so we are here with a Christmas gift guide. So if you're struggling with Christmas present ideas, what to get for your friends and family or people that you kind of know but don't really know, this is definitely the video for you, because we have 14 different Christmas present ideas that are going to be particularly good for the Christians in your life to help them grow in their faith. And these could also be ideas for you to add onto your own Christmas list if you're struggling a bit for what you might want. And of course, because me and Arnold love categories, we have split these 14 ideas down into 4 different categories of gifts. So we have books, we have prayer, we have Bible study, and we have other, which is miscellaneous, anything else that didn't really fit into the first 3 categories. And anything that I talk about in this video I will link down in the description below, so if you like the look of anything or think it would be a really good present for someone you know, just head down into the description and you can find all the links to take you to where these things are sold. So let's get started with the books category. The first gift idea that I have is How to Pray by Pete Greig. And this, if you've watched some of my other videos where I talk about the books that I read, this was not one that I super got on with. I kind of got about halfway through and didn't particularly continue. But the reason for that is because a lot of it is a repeat of what's in the prayer course, which I've done several times, so this kind of felt just a bit repetitive. But that doesn't mean that the information in it is bad. If I hadn't seen the prayer course, I think I would really love this book, so I think it would make a great gift for lots of different people. I think this is also a really good book for both new Christians and people that have been Christians for a long time, to really help them develop and look at their own prayer life. It's a really simple, straightforward guide to prayer, has lots of really good ideas and ways to help you look at the way that you're praying, and it's just really practical as well as talking about kind of the theology behind prayer. And it's also got some great stories of particular people and their experiences of prayer too. The next book I have is You're Not Enough and That's Okay by Ali Beth Stuckey. And this book is kind of primarily written for and aimed at women, but like the content would be perfectly reasonable for men as well, but it is kind of written for women in the way that it's written. And this is all about kind of the culture of self-love and some of the different promises that the self-love movement makes, and combating those promises with what the Bible actually teaches us. So I think this book would make a really good gift for any kind of young women in your life, particularly those that you know are kind of struggling with self-esteem, or anyone you know that is kind of looking at that kind of self-love movement but not quite sure how it fits in with Christianity, and kind of walking that balance line, and I think this could really help them. Book number 3 is Digging for Diamonds by Kathy Madavan, and this again is probably slightly aimed at women, but I think it does cross over a bit better to be read by both men and women. So I think either group could read it and really gain something from it. So this book is kind of looking at some of the different attributes of diamonds and comparing how that relates to us and what the Bible says about us. So it's a really good book about kind of identity and exploring identity and understanding what the Bible says about us, what God says about us, and what that actually means for our lives. So it covers different attributes like valuable, unique, created, flawed, connected, resilient, and lots of different topics like that, and explores how we as human beings are like diamonds. Okay, these next 2 books I don't actually have a physical copy of, but I wanted to mention anyway because I think they sound really good and could make some really good gifts. So the first of these is called Hymns of Note, and there's actually Hymns of Note, the first volume, and then Hymns of Note Rejoice, which is the second volume, which just came out a couple of weeks ago actually. And these are devotional books that are based around hymns, so a mix of kind of very traditional older hymns and slightly more modern hymns as well. And it looks at them, it looks at the history of the hymns, the people that wrote them, and what they're singing about, what the lyrics of the hymns are talking about biblically, and kind of explores the biblical aspects of what they're saying and leads us through a kind of devotional journey and prayer around those hymns. So if you know someone that's particularly into music, for example, I think this could be a really good and interesting gift, and it's a slightly different type of devotional book from the normal. And book number 5 is M is for Mama by Abbie Halberstadt. And this book actually isn't out yet. I believe it comes out in early February. But either way, I still think this is a good gift, because I mean, I think it's fun to receive a gift in the middle of the year, not near a birthday. So I think this could be a fun, like, delayed Christmas present, or you could just add it onto a birthday list or as an idea for someone's birthday later in the year, if not. But Abbie is someone that I follow over on Instagram, and she always has really insightful and reflective thoughts and opinions that she shares about motherhood and about faith and about raising children, basically. So I think this could be a great gift for any mums that you know, or any pregnant women expecting a baby next year. Obviously I haven't read that book yet, so I can't really vouch for all of what's in it, but based on what Abbie puts on Instagram, I think it's going to be really encouraging and practical and really insightful and reflective. Okay, so the next two books are their own little subcategory again for kids' books, books for children. So the first books in this category are the Very Best Bible Stories series by Tim Thornborough and illustrated by Jennifer Davison. And these are published by the Good Book Company, and they are absolutely beautiful. I really love these. We have quite a few of them already, and we don't even have a child yet. I just love them personally. These are just two of them. These are their two newer ones. So you have Esther and the Very Brave Plan and God's Very Colourful Creation. But there's also Daniel and the Lion's Den, Jonah and the Whale, David and Goliath, Deborah. So there's a really great mix of books, and they're still producing new ones. I've never seen Esther or Deborah as children's books before, so I think that's really interesting. And all of the ones that I've read so far have been amazing. They would be really great for reading with kids or reading to kids. And as you can see, the artwork is just so beautiful and so colourful. As you can see. And the other kids book that I wanted to mention is another one that I don't have yet. It's come out really recently and I haven't had a chance to read it or get hold of it yet, but it's called I Grew With You by Sarah Molitor. And this is a book that kind of explores pregnancy and what happens during pregnancy and that idea of the baby and the mum growing together. Sarah is again someone that I follow on Instagram, and I love kind of following her journey and what she shares and how she prays for her community and all of that. So I think this book again is going to be really encouraging and really interesting, perhaps a really good book for someone that's going to be having a second child and wants to talk to their first child about what's actually happening and what does pregnancy mean and what does it mean that their mum's going to have a baby, and that whole conversation I think will be really, really good. So that's all of the books that I wanted to mention. We're now going to move on to Arnold's very favourite category, which is of course prayer. So our first prayer gift idea is a prayer journal, and these are just some of the ones that I use that I've really loved using and I think would make great gifts. So this one is kind of particularly designed to be a prayer journal. It says prayer journal for women, but I don't necessarily know what makes it for women rather than men, probably just the fact that it's colourful. But it's literally just got spaces on each page for perhaps a date, and then all the lines for writing out your prayers, and then a Bible verse down at the bottom. And it is very beautiful and very colourful. But as well as a kind of purposefully made prayer journal, you could also go for any kind of notebook. And this is another notebook that I use as a prayer journal, and it just has Jeremiah 29:11 on the front, and then just has normal lined pages. It's got a little gap that you could put a date, all the lines, and then again Bible verses at the bottom. And I just think prayer journals are a great gift because people can use them however they like and in lots of different ways. I've got a whole video on how to start and how to use a prayer journal, so if you're interested in how you would actually go about using one of these, I will link that down in the description. But they're just incredibly flexible, and I think they can really encourage people to get into prayer a bit more if they have this kind of physical and purposely designed book that is just for prayer. The other prayer related gift idea that I have is holding crosses, and I really love holding crosses. I think they're so simple but also so powerful. They're just a really great thing to just be able to hold on to while you're praying and really focus on as you're praying. And they come in lots of different sizes. You can have kind of bigger ones and dear ones, and I have one that's even smaller than this somewhere as well. So they can just go in your pocket and just be with you all of the time, and just so that you can hold on to them as you're praying. And you can serve as a reminder to pray as well. And I found that these can be really great gifts, particularly if you know that someone is going through a particularly difficult time or is going to have to go into hospital, for example, to be able to take something like this with them reminds them that you were thinking of them and that you'll be praying for them, but also help them to kind of remember to pray and focus on prayer while they're in that situation too. Okay, it's Bernard's time for the Bible study section of our gift ideas. I think the most obvious gift idea when it comes to Bible study is, of course, a Bible. So this is kind of my main Bible that I use on a regular basis, as you can tell by the fact that it is kind of filthy and very, very dirty. I don't know how it quite gets this dirty, but it's well used. And this Bible has the design where it's got spaces for you to write notes on either side, and it's got lined spaces either side of the writing. But it's also got thick enough paper that you can write, you can highlight, you can add lines, and it doesn't really bleed through onto the other side. You can kind of see it through, but it doesn't cause any problems. So it's kind of that thick enough paper. So if you know of a Christian who doesn't yet have a Bible, I think obviously a Bible is just a great gift to get them straight away. Not even just at Christmas, just any time. But if they already have a Bible or are looking for something a little bit different, something else you could get them is a Bible like this. So this is a Bible for journaling and verse mapping, and it's absolutely beautiful. I actually won this in a giveaway by Holy Hope and Hot of Faith, and I've never won a giveaway before, so this was very exciting. But also, I'm very pleased that this is what I won because it's beautiful. I mean, look at those edges on the Bible. It's so cool. But the design of this Bible means that I think the text is a bit bigger and a bit bolder. It looks a bit bigger, but it has blank space down the edges rather than lined. So you can use this for journaling and artwork a bit more. But it also leads you through how to do verse mapping, which isn't something that I've done massively. So it might be something that I look at in a bit more detail. If you'd like to know a bit more about verse mapping and it's something you'd like me to make a video on at some point, let me know it down in the comments and I would definitely do that. But it leads you through how you can go about doing that in the Bible. And it asks you these different questions to lead you through your Bible study. Then it also has sections throughout the Bible to really encourage you to do that Bible verse mapping and to kind of choose a verse and really dig into that verse in particular as you're studying through the Bible. So again, I think that could be a really great gift for someone who's maybe a little bit more creative, wants to get a bit more creative with their Bible study, or is perhaps just looking for how to get started with Bible study on a bit of a deeper level. In the giveaway, that Bible actually came with a set of watercolours, a black pen, just any old blank pen, a white pen, this one, a little white gel pen, and then a watercolour brush, the kind that you can put the water in and then paint. And I think this would be a really great kind of kit that you could put together with your own supplies that you can find and gift it with a journaling Bible to really give people everything that they need to get started with Bible journaling and being a bit more creative in their Bible. And then our other gift idea for Bible study are commentaries. And I know these are technically books, but I haven't included them in the book category because you wouldn't normally just kind of sit and read your way through all of one of these. So these are probably my favourite commentaries that I like to use, which are the For Everyone series by Tom Wright. So for example, I have Matthew for Everyone Part 1, and I also have Part 2 because this is split into 2 books so that it's not too bulky, which is quite nice. I've got Paul for Everyone 1 Corinthians, and Early Christian Letters for Everyone, which covers James, Peter, John and Judah. So quite a few different books of the Bible packed into this one. But these books are just really easy to read, really accessible, to help you dig a bit deeper into the Bible and what it's saying and what it's teaching. And I think commentaries, whether these commentaries or other commentaries, I'll link a few others down in the description too, but commentaries just really add something to our Bible study, whether you're just Bible studying for your own knowledge or whether you're planning a sermon, for example. I think these are all really useful and can really help us to dig deeper into what the Bible is saying. And these are just a really great way to get started with that. Okay, so finally we're on to the other section, the kind of miscellaneous everything else category. So we've got 3 more ideas to go. And the first of these are charity gifts. So the idea of this is that you would be giving money to a charity on behalf of someone else. And there are lots of different ways that this can happen. So you could sponsor a guide dog on behalf of someone else. You could sponsor any kind of animal. And in those kind of sponsorship models, usually the person would then get sent kind of information about the dog or the animal that they're sponsoring and how that journey is progressing. But it can also look like giving money to send a goat or some chickens or other kind of resources to someone else in a different country. And I think you can really personalise those by kind of gearing towards the things that that person is passionate about or really interested about. It could be a charity that they particularly love, or if they're particularly crafty and creative, you could perhaps send supplies for someone to be trained or to get the resources they need to start up a sewing business, I think is an example that I've seen before. And that kind of gift can really make a difference in that person's life, giving them a way to make money. And that is actually also how I first got Monty. I really loved the John Lewis Christmas advert? The John Lewis Christmas advert with Monty the penguin quite a few years ago. And I told my parents that I would like a penguin for Christmas. So rather than just get me a penguin, because apparently that's difficult, but instead of getting me a penguin, they decided to sponsor a penguin for me through WWF. So through that we were able to support the penguins and support WWF as they were caring for penguins and trying to help them. And then I also got a toy penguin and loads of information about penguins and about the work that WWF was doing as well. So I know that different charities like Oxfam do a kind of send a goat package. You can have sponsoring a guide dog on behalf of someone else. I believe World Vision are a charity that will often send gifts as a Christmas gift for someone. I'll link a few more down in the description so you can check them out and see if any of them would work for you. But having received gifts like this before, I think it's really nice to know that something has been sent to another place on your behalf for someone that really needs it. And as the fundraiser in me, that is my day job, I'm a fundraiser, so I really love these kind of gifts that raise awareness and money for charities that are doing great work as well. Our next idea is a hamper, and I think a hamper is a great way to kind of bring lots of smaller things together. If you don't have kind of one big idea for someone, you bring lots of smaller ideas together and give them a gift that feels very personal and very special. So you could have like a food gift that's full of kind of nice biscuits and sweets, or different bread or crackers or whatever it is they like, cheese, I don't know. Or I've seen quite a few kind of like hamper kits where they get maybe some hot chocolate and a face mask and some nice soap or a nice candle, and it's kind of that pamper evening. Or perhaps like popcorn and a movie, that kind of thing, to create a movie night. And then our final idea for this video is probably that kind of fallback idea where if there's nothing else that you can think of, one gift that I think always goes down well is to bake a cake or bake some cookies. Bake something. I think these kind of homemade, home-baked goods are always just really thoughtful. You can personalise them based on how well you know that person. If you really know that they love lemon drizzle cake, then make them a lemon drizzle cake. But it's just a really thoughtful gift that you've put effort into, doesn't have to be super expensive, and can be packaged really nicely to look like a really nice gift. And personally, I always love cake, so I don't think you can go too far wrong. Just make sure you check for allergies first. So those are our 14 different ideas for Christmas gifts that you could get for Christians to help them grow in their faith and just bring them some Christmas joy this year. We'd love to know from you guys down in the comments, what is the best gift that you've ever been given at Christmas? But we hope you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful for planning all of your Christmas present ideas. If you have, please do give a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold, including more Christmas content coming next week. But for now, we'll see you again very soon for a new video. Bye!